Hello and welcome to Beekeeper. I'm Hiral Dadia. We have Delta Corp. That's a stock in focus as well on the back of the Q3 numbers that have been announced. Joining us on the show to discuss more is Hardik Dhebar, Group CFO at Delta Corp. Welcome to the show, Hardik, and a pleasure to speak to you.
Hi, good afternoon, Hiral. Thanks for having us.
Always a pleasure. Hardik, my first question coming to you is overall, in terms of the third quarter, if you have to compare it to any of the previous quarters, what is your internal view of the quarter?
So, Hiral, historically, if you see from a Delta Corp results and numbers perspective, it is the second quarter which has always been the trend-setting quarter. And the trend once set by the second quarter continues into the third quarter. So if I look at it in the same light, the second quarter of this year, this financial year, we ended up with a 270 odd crores kind of a gaming revenue is what I'm talking of. And on a consolidated basis, we ended up with something like 329, 330 crores. And for the current quarter, again, in the gaming space, we did 270 odd crores of revenue. And we ended up with a gross revenue of all the other segments put together at about 335. So I think from a trend perspective, we have maintained the streak, and it's always been that the third quarter is more or less a mirror image or a reflection of what the second quarter trend has set. So from that perspective, I think we are good. And if you really compare on a like-to-like basis between the two quarters, there has been a slight improvement in margin. Now, people have various ways of looking at it, and I have had a recent interaction this morning itself, where somebody was comparing it to December 21. Now, one has to keep in mind that December 21, we were, just coming out of the second wave of COVID, and our costs were not fully back to the pre-COVID levels. Our staff strength, which had been curtailed during the COVID closure and everything, was not yet back. So it is only in January 22 is when we started ramping up and went back to the pre-COVID levels. So comparing margins and profitability and stuff like that with December 21 may not give you the right picture. But if you look at December 21 to December 22 in terms of revenue, there has been a 12-13% kind of a growth that we have seen.
Right. So overall now, if you have to break it up between divisions, casino gaming, yes, we've seen a growth. Revenue from online skill gaming has seen a growth. Hospitality division has seen a slip, though it's still a small portion from the overall. What's the reason for that slip in terms of the hospitality division?
So again, for us, hospitality has never been a real big, slice of the business. If you look at the numbers also, so out of the 1,000 crores, hospitality contributes less than 60-70 crores on an annual basis. Having said that, I think what had happened in the last year, when you compare it again with December, where we did about a 16 odd crore revenue. That time, the only entertainment activity that was available for anybody traveling was going to a resort and stay. So, you saw unprecedented revenge tourism, as people called it. So you saw unprecedented amount of travel that happened in that year. I'm not saying that has died down completely. And therefore, we are still maintaining, instead of 16 and a half crores in the quarter, we have still done about 15 odd crores. So plus, you also have, the weddings, especially for our hotel in Daman, wedding and corporate events become a large, pull factor. Now, you don't have wedding dates in a certain month or a certain quarter, and that is not governed by anybody else. It's governed by the planets. So, this quarter, the wedding dates are not there. In January, February, we have enough weddings that are coming up. So I think, it's a seasonal planetary movement, whatever you may want to call it from a wedding perspective. I think all that put together, I don't think we've done bad. When you compare number basis, you may see it's slightly lower, but I think from a profitability basis, I think we are fine.
Right. So overall, if you have to look at the different locations between Goa, Sikkim, Daman, as well as Nepal, where are you seeing higher traction in terms of growth, in terms of, because if you see the population versus the way people are coming out now, where is the traction coming from?
So each of the location and the businesses are very different. Daman is a pure play hospitality play at this point of time, given that the casino license is awaited, and hopefully the case, it's a matter is sub judice. We'll know what is the outcome of that legal issue. So Nepal, if you look at, we actually commenced operations in February 20, just before the lockdown hit. And then right from February 20 to September 21, for almost 18 months, we were not operational. So it's only in September 21 we started operations. So, effectively Nepal has been in operations only for 1 year. And from that 1.5 year of operations, I think the kind of traction we have seen, it's very encouraging. So we are doing roughly about, in Indian rupee terms, we're doing about 4 odd crores a month kind of run rate. And first year, Nepal having itself gone through a lot of problems. Not only COVID, the tourism has not yet come back fully the way it was to the pre-COVID level. So I think from a country perspective, the country also has to bounce back fully to be able to then the businesses to start realizing the real potential. So we have always maintained that we believe that Nepal, to begin with, could be a 5, 6 crore, 7 crore per month kind of a market, and then can go higher. So we are already at 4, which is decent to begin. Sikkim, again, the problem is connectivity. We've always stated very categorically that the biggest challenge and the biggest issue as far as Sikkim is concerned from a growth perspective is connectivity. The day that we have the airport, it started operations, but it's not fully functional. It was shut again for obvious security and defense reasons. Now, having said that, it's a question of time. Once the connectivity, we genuinely believe, we were doing about 1 crore a month. We are today doing about 2 crores, 2.25 crores a month now, which is on the up, and we'll see those improvements also happen.
Right. So overall, Hardik, once we get the Daman Casino division licensed through, right, in terms of regulatory approvals, what is the kind of top line enhancement we could see according to you?
See, Hiral, it's a very theoretical question, and I will because we have not yet tested the water in reality. Internationally, if you see, it is said that if you have a casino destination in a 4-hour driving distance with a catchment population of 10 million people, it's a goldmine casino destination. Okay. Whether you see Connecticut, Foxwoods in Connecticut, or you see Atlantic City near New York and New Jersey, those are live examples, or Macau for mainland China and Hong Kong. Going by that principle, Daman, in a 4-hour driving distance, has a 50 million population, and this 50 million comprises only of Mumbai, Surat, Baroda, and Ahmedabad. I'm not even going into the other cities of Gujarat. So from that perspective, it's a copybook destination for success when it comes to this. Given the fact that Daman is also already popular, and for lack of a better word, I would use alcohol tourism, so to say. But there is nothing else to do in Daman other than that. So with this entertainment option, if we are able to bring, it brings in a good mix of the entire package to be provided. And I think it will be a huge success story. It can be as big, probably bigger than Goa, who knows? Because again, a drive-in market is a better successful market than a fly-in market. And Goa, till the time the connectivity of roads and the express highways and everything becomes live and accessible, Daman will obviously be more accessible at any point of time of day or night.
Absolutely, and I think that's going to be a game changer as well. Now, overall, the anticipation, Hardik, was that casino division probably will achieve the highest ever revenue in FY23, and better than what we've also seen in FY19, I think, because that was the best year we've seen so far. What's the view on that front? Are we on track to achieve those kind of numbers?
So if you look at 19, that's the year that you're talking, we were about 800-900 crores on the gross revenue. We are already touching 1,000 crores on the gross revenue. So, and a bulk of that contribution comes from the gaming business. And if you just compare it with the previous year, we are already, in 9 months, we are already grown about 50%. We had done about 400 crores. We are already at 995 crores.
Right.
I think the trajectory is right. The direction is right. You will have certain ups and downs, which will obviously be there in every business. But I think those are part and parcel of life, and we'll overcome it. I think, but the trajectory and the direction is definitely on the up.
Right. Apart from that, what is the update with regards to by replacing the Delta Caravella goes? Because that was something that we were considering as well. And I think the timelines was by the third quarter of FY24, right? So are we on track
We
on
are
that
still
front?
sticking, yeah, we are still sticking to that timelines. We believe that we should be getting the new vessel in the coming financial year, in the quarter that we have said. So I think we are on track for that.
Right. Moving on in terms of the online gaming division as well. Historically, that segment has always been profit making. However, first half FY23, we have seen a loss that came in on that front. From here on, what's the outlook in terms of online gaming? Because there's a lot of chatter that's going on with regards to online gaming rules with Meaty as well, right? So, how are you viewing that segment? And secondly, from an IPO perspective, any updates that you would want to give us?
So, first of all, thank you, Hiral, that you actually took the pain to look at the historical side of the online business and confirm that it has been a profitable business. Yes, it has been. Um, the loss or the muted, margins that you are seeing is not something that is hit us out of the blue. It's a part of
Hmm.
the strategy and the game plan that we as a company have embarked upon. Uh, this is a business where you have to spend the money upfront today to see the results later. And that is true for most of the businesses. When you put up a plant, you invest into the plant today, the capacity is realized later, and then your sales go up and then your profitability go up. Unfortunately, here you don't see a plant being constructed because you're spending your marketing dollars, you're spending your sales promotion dollars, money on acquiring customers. That's the raw material as far as this business is concerned. So we have taken a conscious decision in the last few quarters that this is the path that we want to utilize and spend the money. And if you see historically, we have been very stingy spenders. We haven't spent
Hmm.
money and yet have been able to, when we acquired this company in 2017, it was a 60 crore turnover company. It has gone to 200 crores. So without spending adequately, we have been able to grow with the markets having grown, the businesses having grown. But now is the time to take it to the next level and the next, it's a time to use the inflection point at some point of time. And very, very clearly, we believe that once we start investing in this direction, the results will obviously will follow over a period of time, and we will see over the next few quarters the business coming back to profitability. Uh, uh, and like I have said, that we have launched multi-gaming platform in form of Adda Games. That is the platform which is going to act as the funnel for acquisition. That's where the spend will happen. That is the platform which we will use to acquire customers, acquire players, because that's a far wider platform, far reaching potential. And we will use that to convert and monetize ourselves on the high ARPU games that we have on our platform. With regards to the process of the IPO or the legwork towards the IPO has all been completed. We are very close to the budget season, and therefore it's not advisable to hit the
Correct.
markets because there is a lot of question marks, uncertainty. That coupled with the fact that we are seeing a transition in form of the government stepping in and trying to give more recognition to this sector and industry by virtue of the fact that you have the Ministry of Electronic and Information Technology coming out with a set of rules and regulations, self-regulatory bodies being brought into play, and then the entire GST clarity. All this is expected in the next couple of weeks, run up to the budget and thereafter. And so we believe that from our readiness perspective, we are 100% ready to hit the market. Once we have the clarity, once there is stability, and the events that are in the pipeline are all done with, we should be able to hit the market soon.
Right. And with all of this said and done, the other aspect to bring the casino division on land, for which the company has already made provisions, right? What's the status of that? Number one. And two, taking the company is already free cash flow positive. How are we going to fund the entire transition in terms of, the Delta Entertainment City in Goa?
So there again, the land has all been acquired. We went through the investment promotion board, which has approved and certified the project and the area. there are a few final approvals and permissions that are pending, which are required before we break ground and start work physically. Those are in the process, and we should be getting those soon. With regards to the work in the back end in terms of designing, layout, the engineering team, the project consultants, all of them have been in place. They have been working on this for the last few months, and nothing is, on a nothing is come to a standstill of sorts. It may not be visible because physical activities have not yet begun, but otherwise we are working on it. With regards to the funding of the project, we've always said that we will try and ensure that we stay within the means of Delta. We will achieve the project completion and closure in a way where we do not have to, kind of take undue leverage. So the planning will be done in such a way that at all points of time we remain debt zero.
Right. So Hardik, would it be right to say that the entire project would actually be able to achieve absolute completion, say by FY 26, 27?
So I think we should estimate a 4-year period from the time we break ground. Now, we are already in January, so, I think 27, 28, financial year 27, 28, calendar year 27, possible.
Right. And overall, apart from this, taking into consideration that, the online gaming industry has had meetings yesterday with MeitY as well, and now they've gone ahead and extended the deadline for feedback on the draft online gaming rules to 25th January. If you could help us understand what has been the outcome and what is it that we are asking for now basis the discussion so far?
I don't think there is any drastic or dramatic ask that is there from the industry. It's more of, kind of ironing out a little bit here and there, because broadly what the draft rules are completely in line and in sync with what most of the industry is already following in some form and fashion. It is just the sequence of events. Somebody wants that the KYC be done at stage 1, whereas some of the players in the industry believe that it should be done at stage 2. I'm just trying to, position it more generally. It is only those kind of things that are being discussed and debated. Otherwise, by and large, whatever is otherwise written in the rules and regulations is quite straightforward, simple, which most of it, or rather all of it, is what we are already adhering to. So for someone like Adda or for Delta Tech Gaming, I don't think we'll have any issues in the transition at all.
Right. And any plans of inorganic growth in the online gaming business from here on? Because we do see a lot of acquisitions happening in the consumption space, right? So in the gaming industry as well, is something on the cards?
Inorganic is something which is always an opportunity driven action. So we are always on the lookout. You have a right opportunity being presented to you, we'll always be happy and will be welcome to looking and examining and exploring that opportunity. So if you ask me, yes, it is always on the horizon, on the radar, but a right opportunity, a right mix, a right target has to be there.
Absolutely. Thank you, Hardik, so much for having this candid conversation with us. Hope you enjoyed the conversation as well, and a good trajectory and a good, segment that is now evolving as well again post-COVID. So that's something we should be watching out for as well. And congratulations for all the upcoming, newbies and new things that you're doing in this space. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.